how to turn your kitchen scraps into beautiful compost the easy way. Let's get into it. Okay, so today I wanted to show a very simple way that you can turn your kitchen scraps into beautiful compost that you can use in the garden. If you enjoy your cooking, you're always going to have those scraps that end up in the bin. Now don't waste them. They can be turned into beautiful compost. A really simple way that I want to show you today is just with an old bucket. So in the kitchen, you know, you're chopping up stuff. This morning I picked some radish and chopped them up for lunch today, and then I was left with the tops of the radish. That goes in our kitchen bin. Now this bin sits on our kitchen bench, and every time we're cooking, any kitchen scraps go in there. Now things to avoid going in your compost typically are any meat products. So organic stuff like your fruit and veg is absolutely fine. A little bit of bread and even your tea bags. So yeah, all our organic fruit and veg scraps go into our kitchen bin, and they all go into our simple bed bin. This is essentially a bin put in a bed. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of mature compost from the bottom of this bucket, and I'm going to keep that for later, and I'll show you what I do with that. So if you go right down the bottom, it's beautiful, beautiful soil. Now before I put my kitchen scraps in there, I'd like to show you how this bucket is made. So I'm going to pull it out of the bed. Oh, this big earthworm. So if you look on the bottom of this bucket, you can see I've drilled some holes in it. And that way the worms in the garden can work from the bucket back into your garden, spreading all that nice nutrients around as they break down your food scraps. Now you can add composting worms to your bucket, and that will speed it along as well, but you don't have to. Just a bucket in your garden bed, food scraps in there, wait for it to break down, and then you end up with this beautiful homemade compost. So just a few holes in the bottom of your bucket, and it's buried. You can see where it's been buried up to in this garden bed. Now you may notice in our kitchen bin we have what looks like a plastic bag. It is not a plastic bag, it's a compostable bag. And these are great for just keeping the bin a little bit clean, and that whole bag can just get dropped straight into our bin in the garden. Now once it goes in there, it sits for as long as it takes. I like to add a little bit of cow manure or chicken manure, just a handful every time you add some kitchen scraps, and that seems to help the process along a lot quicker. One thing to bear in mind with your compost bin in the garden is you must kind of keep a bit of a balance between dry and wet material. Now if it's smelly, it's probably a little bit too wet. If there's lots of ants in there and it's really, really dry, it's probably a little bit too dry. So you want to kind of balance between your dry materials and your wet materials. An easy way to balance that is stuff like paper is a dry material, and leaves is also a dry material. So just add a few layers like that to help balance out your compost. Okay, I got my beautiful homemade compost. I'm going to put it to good use. I'm going to plant some beetroot. So in this bed, we have some chives, we have spring onion, we have radish, which I picked this morning. We have a little bit of beetroot. We have thyme in the corner, a couple of cauliflowers, and some sunflower seeds germinating on top of the worm farm. So I've mixed my compost in, and I've made a couple little rows here in the soil, and I'm just going to sprinkle my beetroot seeds in just like that. Now there's not a great deal of room here, but I should be able to get 2 small rows of beetroot jammed in between the spring onion. Gently cover the seeds over and water in well. So there you go guys, we just turned food scraps back into food, full circle. So give it a go. Don't throw your food scraps in the bin. Put them in a bin in your garden and turn them back into more produce. It's super easy, you've got nothing to lose, just give it a crack. I'm off to make my salad. Have a great day.